What's up, Senior High?
What's up, Silliman?
Whether you may be in Luzon, Visayas, or Mindanao,
Thank you for choosing Silliman University. First and foremost, we would like to congratulate each and every one of you for bravely overcoming the challenges brought upon by the sudden shift to an online learning environment.
but amidst the difficulties, we, the university community, are here to guide you every step of the way. I am Cheryl Subong, and joining me today is my fellow council member, Ayana Grappa.
And we welcome you to Silliman University Senior High School's online orientation for school year 2021 to 2022.
To formally start our orientation, let us feel the presence of the Lord in an opening prayer to be led by Lee Jujong, to be followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I
And now, to open the program, let's hear a few words from our Dean of College of Education, Dr. Gina F. Bonior, for her welcome address.
Maayong adlaw kanatong tanan and welcome to this orientation of the senior high school. At the onset, I would like to thank our parents and other stakeholders in the education of our students for trusting Silliman University for the education of our students, your children. Daghan kaayong salamat. Also, I would like to welcome all of our students, our new students, our returning students, and our continuing students for joining us this school year. Also, kudos to our faculty, our administration, the leadership team of the senior high school, and our students for successfully navigating the historic, unprecedentedly challenging school year where we all migrated to the online platform. Just like any migration, it brings with it a lot of anxiety, and many of us engage in trial and error, and reflecting on those errors, we improved our practices. So we thank God for bringing us and ushering us into this new school year. So what will we do today? I have two tasks. First is to introduce the new members of our leadership team, and second, to give us an overview of what will take place today. So first, I would like to welcome two new additions to the leadership team of the senior high school. We have a new associate dean of the College of Education, and this is very important because the associate dean directly supervises all of the principals of the School of Basic Education, including our senior high school. Our new Associate Dean, Assistant Professor Myla June Patron, is not new to the senior high school because she was for 4 years the assistant principal, and she worked very closely with our principal, Kemon Skilat, and the rest of the leadership team at the high school in making sure that we have new systems and efficient processes for the smooth transition of our K-12 program. So for that, I would like to thank and welcome Assistant Professor Patron. We also have a new assistant principal that will take the place of Assistant Professor Patron. Our new assistant principal is Assistant Professor Virgilio Larena Jr. He used to be the principal of the junior high school. That was when he left for the United States for a faculty exchange program. And so again, we would like to welcome to the leadership team our new assistant principal, Assistant Professor Virgilio Larena. I have no doubt, sir, that you can work closely with Assistant Professor Kemons Kilat, and so we thank you for another fruitful school year ahead of us. So what will we talk about in this orientation? There will be 3 major topics that we will be discussing. First, we will be talking about the various tracks that you are enrolled in and introduce to you the teachers who will be engaging you in the various courses in each of these tracks. Secondly, we will be discussing the various policies and guidelines which are now in our brand new senior high school handbook. These guidelines and policies will guide our decisions and actions as administrators, as faculty, as parents, as students, and even other stakeholders in the education of our children. So we are very grateful for the senior high school faculty and staff for putting together this handbook. Finally, we will be talking about our grading system, and I know that this is probably the most important topic of the day because our grades will affect us in many ways. So sit back and make sure that you take note of the contact information of our principal, our assistant principal, the coordinators and the faculty members, so that if you have any questions on any topic that will be discussed today, you could email or call them. Once again, welcome everyone to our senior high school at Silliman University, and have a productive school year ahead. God bless us all.
Once again, with an inspiring and uplifting message from our very own Dean. Thank you for that, Dr. Benyor. Moving on with a welcoming message of her own, let us all welcome our Associate Dean of College of Education, Professor Milet June P. Patron.
Pleasant day, my dear students and parents. I believe that you would agree with me that learning had never been more challenging than it has been since the beginning of the pandemic. While we all struggle over anxiety for our health, quarantines, uncertainties, and drastic changes in lifestyle, students also find themselves grappling with the demands of online distance learning. And just as their kids, parents have also become learners themselves. Along with their children, parents have probably felt the need to learn how to use different online learning platforms like MySoul, Google Classroom, and others, which perhaps they never imagined learning before. Sometimes parents get too engaged in helping their children cope with the demands of online learning and end up asking the question, bakit parang ako ang naka-enroll? Or you, a student, might have found yourselves, students might have found yourselves struggling with your internet connection and cannot log on to your classes. And so you feel like literally breaking down. Can you relate to this? There are times when you get really frustrated because you couldn't enter your online classes, or you get booted out in the middle of a test, or sometimes nobody can hear you when you speak because your internet connection is too unstable. These are common frustrations and challenges that students encounter as they do online learning. Thus, regardless of status, economic status, availability of resources, and motivation, we have all felt the toll of pandemic on education. I am not only speaking from my observations, but from my very own experience as a parent. And as a teacher, I have known a handful few of my students who had to travel a few hours to the city just so they can have access to the internet or can have decent online or internet connection. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to attend their classes. Some had to stay with relatives just so they can have access to the internet. I can only imagine the sacrifices these students had to make along with their parents every day. I am reminded of how Max Lucado, in one of the stories or his stories, where he likened his wife to a spider. He just finds it amazing how she seems to have many hands holding different things in place at the same time. Her family, her job, relationships, and many other things. In these trying times, your parents have been your spider moms and spider dads. They are your superheroes. Though they have too much on their plates, they can never be too busy to support you through your journey as students. In fact, it seems that your parents have been more engaged in helping you in your learning more than ever. Therefore, DepEd Undersecretary Nepomuceno Malaluan made sense when he said that the pandemic might be an opportunity to elicit greater participation among parents in their children's learning process. Perhaps our parents have relied on schools for children's learning, which is not really the ideal because a lot of learning has to happen at home. You may not totally agree with it, but I believe that parents have indeed become more actively involved in their students' learning or their children's learning. And as they do, there is also greater opportunity to build a deeper relationship with their children. So, how do you ensure that all your sacrifices and your parents' efforts and sacrifices will count this school year? Here are some simple tips based on an article published by the Ohio State University. Let me call them clicks. C stands for communicate. Communicate your concerns with your teachers as soon as possible. Whenever you can go online, you can reach your parents or your teachers or your guidance counselors through email or through Soul. Please do so and share all your concerns, whether it's regarding academics or perhaps something personal that is affecting you and also your studies. Share it with them. You can trust people in school. You can trust your guidance counselors. You can trust your advisors and your teachers to help you. L is for listen. Listen and remain engaged in your classes. Take all your classes seriously. Attend your synchronous sessions. Do all your activities during your asynchronous sessions. I is for identify. Identify areas where you are having difficulties or experiencing challenges and communicate them immediately with your teachers and advisors or your guidance counselors so they can help you as soon as possible. Anything or any problem that is left unsolved may affect you academically and your graduation in the long run. C is for create. Create a schedule, manage your time wisely, and stay organized. This is one of the secrets to success or successful online learning or even in face-to-face learning. K. K means know when to seek help from your teachers and your guidance counselors or all other school personnel whom you think can help and assist you. Along with your parents, your teachers, and your guidance counselors, stand as your parents' surrogate. So please don't hesitate to seek help from them. Do not keep your problems to yourselves, whether you're feeling depressed, you're feeling overwhelmed with schoolwork, or you cannot just cope with the demands of online distance learning, or with a mere shift in paradigm or in the situations around you, circumstances around you. Share your problems and your issues with the right people and seek help. And of course, last but not the least, stay healthy and take care of yourself. It is important that you stay healthy emotionally, physically, spiritually, and psychologically. And you can do that by doing all these things that are on the list. Communicate, listen, identify areas where you're having difficulty, create a schedule and manage your time wisely, know when to seek help, and you will stay healthy and be able to take care of yourself. Now, on this note, I would like to wish every one of you a fruitful and productive school year. And of course, would like to add this to your equation. Pray. It is important that you pray or you ask for divine providence because you can do all things in Him who strengthens you. So now allow me to once again, welcome you all to this new school year, 2021 to 2022. We don't expect this to be an easy year for you, but you just have to stay strong and keep fighting. Laban lang.
Thank you, Professor Patron, for your meaningful message. Now, grade 12, to proceed to the orientation, let us all welcome our Assistant Principal, Professor Virgilio Larena Jr.
Hello everyone, welcome back to school. I am super excited to journey with you in your last year in the School of Basic Education. To make the school year 2021-2022 meaningful and more productive, while you engage both in synchronous and asynchronous learning modality, allow me to guide you in reviewing and have a better understanding of the policies in school. As grade 12 students, you are now in your last year in preparing for college. This orientation highlights the following: academic standard and guidelines, rules and regulations, year-end decisions, graduation requirements and policies, honors and awards, student activity program, and I will also present a template for the declaration of commitment which you students with your parents will sign. This slide shows the weight distribution of the summative assessment components for senior high school. There are two assessment components, and these include written works and performance tasks. For core subjects, the written works is 40% while performance task is 60%. For the academic track, all other subjects, written works is 40%, performance task is 60%. Work immersion, research, business enterprise, simulation, exhibit, and performance. Written works is 50%, while performance task is 50%. For technical, vocational, and livelihood or TVL, sports, arts, and design tracks, both all other subjects, work immersion, research, exhibit, and performance, written works is 30%, while performance task is 70%. Remediation is provided by the teacher within the semester to help underperforming students improve their class performance and hence their scores or grades. Therefore, a student to whom remediation is provided must do the following: complete all remediation activities provided by the teacher and cooperate with the teacher and commit herself or himself to the accomplishment of the given tasks. For remedial classes, a student who obtains a final grade of 70 to 74 in any subject is required to enroll in a remedial class. The remedial class shall run for 20 hours before the start of the new semester or on the first 2 weeks of the new semester. Students should get a remedial advice note from his or her advisor. A student who fails to officially enroll and attend a remedial class within the prescribed period immediately after the semester where the failing grade was incurred, or within the first 3 or 4 weeks of the succeeding semester, or within the period arranged by the senior high school office, the student must retake the subject that he or she failed. Summative assessments are also given during remedial classes. These are recorded, computed, weighted, and transmuted in the same way as the quarterly grade. The equivalent of the final grade for remedial classes is the remedial class mark or RCM. The final grade at the end of the semester and the remedial class mark are average. This result is the recomputed final grade. If the recomputed final grade is 75% or higher, the student is promoted to the next grade level. On retake, a student who obtains a final grade of 69% or lower in any subject in any semester is required to retake or re-enroll the subject. If the subject to retake is a prerequisite to another one offered in the succeeding semester, these two subjects cannot be taken simultaneously. In this slide, it speaks about retention and promotion policies. I'd like to direct your attention on the requirements and decision. Number one, final grade of at least 75 in all learning areas in a semester. The decision is a student can proceed to the next semester. Number two, did not meet expectations in a prerequisite subject in a learning area. Decision must pass remedial classes for failed competencies in the subject before being allowed to enroll in the higher level subject. Number three, did not meet expectations in any subject or learning area at the end of the semester. Must pass remedial classes for failed competencies in the subjects or learning areas to be allowed to enroll in the next semester. Otherwise, the learner must retake the subjects failed. Lastly, must pass all subjects or learning areas in senior high school. Decision, the student can earn the senior high school certificate. For students on irregular status, transferring students are generally classified as irregular unless they have taken and passed the required prerequisite subjects in their previous school. Specific considerations shall be based on the evaluation of the student's records. Similarly, students who shift from other tracks or strands are classified as irregular. The following are bases for classifying students as irregular. These students are automatically placed under academic probation. A. A student who fails with a final grade of 69 or lower in one or more subjects the first semester of the school year. B. A grade 11 student who fails with a final grade of 69 or lower in one or two subjects in the second semester of the school year. C. A student who has failed in same subject more than once. D. A student who fails in a remedial class, he or she has to retake the subject. And E. A student who fails to officially enroll and attend a remedial class within the prescribed period, he or she has to retake the subject. A student will be placed on probation academic status at the end of the semester if he or she has a failing grade of at least one subject on the previous semester. This means that he or she is expected to follow the policies on academic probation of Silliman University Senior High School. After every quarter of each semester, academic performance will be reviewed and evaluated by the senior high school office together with the advisor and the coordinator. At the end of the school year, based on the evaluation, he or she may be retained or may be advised to transfer to another school. Conditions are the following. A. He or she will not represent the senior high school or any entity in any public performance or activity without the permission of the principal while he or she is on academic probation. B. He or she shall not incur unexcused absences from the regular classes, senior high assemblies, university convocations, and other school gatherings. C. He or she shall pass all subjects that he or she currently retaking and or all remedial classes he or she is enrolled in. D. He or she shall not have any failing grade, like quarterly or final, in the first and second semester of the given school year. E. He or she shall maintain a general average of 80 or higher every semester. A student is meted the status on probation behavior when he or she has violated disciplinary provisions stipulated in this handbook. The decision to place a student on an OPB status is done regardless of his or her academic standing. The following are the types of behavioral probation. On probation behavior or OPB, a student is placed under this status after committing two minor offenses or one less serious offense within a given semester. On strict probation behavior or OSPB, a student is placed under this when he or she has committed two less serious offenses or four minor offenses within a given semester. Students' attendance is important. You are all required to attend classes during synchronous, and when it is asynchronous, you are all required to check in. Any student who comes within the first 15 minutes from the start of the class shall be considered late. If the student comes to class after the first 15 minutes, he or she shall be considered absent. Absence due to illness must be supported by a medical certificate, preferably from SUMCFI, in order for the absence to be excused. Absence due to appearance in an embassy for visa processing, where the schedule is not within one's control, should be supported with documents to validate the excused absence. Since quarterly assessments are no longer given, but there are other forms of assessments, let me emphasize number 3 and number 4. A student who is not able to take assessments as scheduled in any of his or her classes is given a make-up exam only if he or she can present a valid reason. Based on university policy, the only acceptable excuse for absence, which is sickness or illness. Such reason must be explained in writing, addressed to the teacher, and backed by a medical certificate from Silliman University Clinic. Other reasons besides health reasons are not readily acceptable. Restrictions for students with OPA and OPB. A student is on probation academic or OPA due to grade deficiency shall not be allowed to join any literary contests, quiz bowls, varsity teams, or play in the city or provincial or national meets or any other activity where he or she may represent the school. Students who are on probation behavior shall seek written permission from the principal. As grade 12 students, it is important for all of you to really understand this on lacking requirements. A student who incurs an incomplete, meaning no final grade due to a lacking requirement, he or she is given 10 days from the last day of the final examination to comply with the lacking requirements. Otherwise, he or she will be given a score of 0 for the lacking requirement, and the teacher will submit the final grade to the senior high school office immediately after the given period for completion. A student who has no scores or any evidence of performance in a subject for a given quarter or semester is given a grade of 60. On the change of grade, a request for a change of grade must only be made when the teacher concerned has committed an error in the grade computation. Otherwise, no change of grade should be executed by the teacher. Moreover, the change of grade will only be considered valid and official if the teacher concerned has submitted a change of grade form with an attached affidavit stating the aforementioned reasons. Otherwise, the grade change will not be considered valid by the senior high school office. Another thing that all of you should understand is on year-end decisions. There may be some of you who are granted with an irregular status. A student who fails to satisfy any of the conditions for promotion is granted an irregular status with academic probation. The same is true with students shifting from other strands or with transferees from other schools whose subjects cannot be entirely credited due to shifting strands, failing grades, lacking prerequisite subjects, and other viable reasons. Consequently, students with irregular status are likely to graduate later than those with regular status. Final decisions are, however, made based on the periodic evaluation of the student's academic records. For students who are on probation academic probation is lifted by the end of a given semester only if the student has passed remedial and or retake classes, does not have any failing grade, 74 or lower in any subject in any quarter, and has an average of at least 75 in all subjects. Lifting of behavioral probation. Behavioral probation is lifted at the end of a given semester only if the student does not have any new or further disciplinary issues or cases, has satisfactorily complied with the redemptive disciplinary measures and requirements, has demonstrated an improvement in behavior and demeanor within the probationary period. It should be noted that although a student has lifted his or her behavioral probation status, he or she must not anymore be involved in any disciplinary case. Otherwise, he or she shall be advised to transfer to another school at the end of the school year. A student is advised to transfer at the end of the school year if he or she fails to lift her or his academic and/or behavioral probation by the end of the first semester, has lifted his or her academic and/or behavioral probation on the first semester but is again placed on probation on the second semester, has incurred failing in 3 or more subjects within the school year, and has been involved in 2 disciplinary cases, serious and less serious offenses within the school year. The most awaited time. Graduation. Graduation requirements and policies. To qualify for graduation, this is allowed to march, meaning can join in the graduation ceremony. A grade 12 student must be able to satisfy the following requirements. 1. Must have an average grade of 75% or higher in all subjects in every quarter. 2. Must have an average grade of 75% or higher in all subjects every semester. 3. Must have passed all remedial and/or retake classes, if any. 4. Must have lifted academic or behavioral probationary status, if any, by the end of the first semester of grade 12. 5. Must not be on probation on the second semester of grade 12. 6. Must not be on an academic or behavioral probation by the end of the second semester of grade 12. 7. Must be cleared in terms of requirements in all subject areas. 8. Must complete the graduation clearance within the period prescribed by the senior high school office. 9. Must have no accountabilities or obligations with the university and other departments. And 10. Must be cleared of all student council obligations. There are instances where a student is considered graduate but not allowed to march or to participate in the graduation ceremony. This is meted out to students, 1. Who have a grade of 75% or higher in all subjects every quarter. 2. Who have an average grade of 75% or higher in all subjects every semester. 3. Who have passed all remedial and/or retake classes, if any. 4. Who failed to comply with all school requirements. 5. Who failed to lift on probation academic and behavior status by the end of the second semester of grade 12. 6. Who have not attended all the activities set for grade 12, senior high school office mandated activities prior to graduation day. And 7. Who have violated any provision of the student handbook during the period covering 3 weeks before graduation. Guidelines for the selection for senior high school honors. A senior high school student shall be a candidate for honors of the current school year if he or she meets the following requirements. A. He or she must have a quarterly grade of at least 85% in each subject area. B. He or she must have a final grade of at least 90% in each subject area every semester. C. He or she must have a general average grade of at least 90% in each of the 2 semesters. And D. He or she must have an overall average grade of at least 90% computed by adding the first semester and the second semester general average for the semester grades divided by 2 semesters. Honors are as follows. With honors, with an average grade that ranges from 90% to 94.99%. With high honors, 95% to 97.99%. with highest honors 98% to 100%. One important student activity that you are all expected to participate are convocations. Convocations are vital in the lives of senior high school students. Both academic and Christian convocations are avenues for students to see Christian values incorporated in their daily academic lives. These convocations follow different themes that focus on Christian knowledge and faith to contemporary life situations. Students' attendance in these convocations is required. And this is the list of clubs and organizations in senior high school. Services include student ministry and campus chaplaincy, guidance and counseling, health and medical services, library, insurance, security, food services, and student housing. This declaration of commitment of student and parents or legal guardian will be sent to each one of you. And let me read to you the content. I, you will state your name there, and my parents or legal guardian hereby declare our commitment and assurance that we will faithfully abide by the rules and regulations and comply with the policies of the school as indicated in this student handbook. As parents or legal guardian, we commit ourselves to fully cooperate and support the activities that our child may participate in for his or her development. Also, we will be actively involved in the school activities that require our presence, for we have considered the benefits that we can get from our participation. As a fulfillment thereof, we hereby affix our signatures below. I would like to end my presentation with this by Malcolm X. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Enjoy learning. Have a good day, everyone.
Now, for the last part of our orientation, please help me welcome our senior high school department faculty and staff.
that the orientation has come to an end, we would like to thank you for watching and participating, as its end also marks the beginning of your new and exciting journey.
With all the uncertainty and obstacles that lie before us, you can be confident that the entire university community is here at your side to support, sustain, and encourage you in your studies at Silliman University.
We could not be more privileged to welcome you into this vibrant learning community. We look forward to getting to know the exceptional young people that you all are, and we are more than honored to help provide a rich array of opportunities for you to learn, grow, and discover who you are and how you want to make a difference with the world.
We are not only speaking for ourselves, but carrying the voices of the entire faculty, staff, and student community of Silliman University in saying that we are grateful and happy that you have made the decision to join us.
Here's to a successful and memorable virtual school year with you all.
Once again, welcome and thank you for choosing Silliman University.